The Korean War was the only moment in human history when World War II-era propeller aircraft shared the same skies with the first generation of jet fighters entering the supersonic age. It marked the most violent transition period in the history of modern air combat, where the deep roar of piston engines was gradually drowned out by the piercing scream of jet propulsion. In this journey, we will explore every type of aircraft that took part in the Korean War, from fighters, ground attack aircraft, bombers, transport and reconnaissance planes, to seaplanes and the very first medical evacuation helicopters in the history of warfare. The British Gloucester Meteor was the first jet aircraft of the Royal Air Force to appear in Korea. Initially expected to confront MiG fighters, the Meteor was soon reassigned to ground attack duties after encountering faster, swept-wing jet aircraft. Next came the Lockheed F-80 Shooting Star, the primary U.S. jet fighter during the early phase of the war. On November 8, 1950, First Lieutenant Russell Brown made history by shooting down a MiG-15, marking the world's first jet-to-jet aerial victory. On the opposing side, the MiG-9, an early Soviet jet fighter, was used mainly for training and conversion purposes, serving as a stepping stone for pilots before transitioning to more dangerous frontline fighters. The Republic F-84 Thunderjet became the most frequently flown fighter-bomber in the Korean War. It struck bridges, railways, and supply depots across North Korea, earning the nickname Lead Sled from pilots due to its limited maneuverability. The Yak-17, a compact jet fighter derived from older piston aircraft designs, played only a minor role in training and support duties. The undisputed star of the Korean skies was the North American F-86 Sabre. With its advanced swept wings and highly experienced pilots, the Sabre dominated MiG Alley along the Yalu River, achieving kill ratios of up to 10-to-1. Its worthy adversary, the MiG-15, came as a major shock to United Nations forces when it appeared in late 1950. Flown by Chinese, North Korean, and secretly deployed Soviet pilots, the MiG-15 completely transformed the nature of aerial combat over Korea. The Grumman F-9F Panther was the first carrier-based jet fighter widely used by the U.S. Navy in Korea. Operating from aircraft carriers, the Panther performed both air-to-air and ground attack missions and was once flown by John Glenn before he became an astronaut. The McDonnell F-2H Banshee was valued for its long range and high-altitude performance, making it especially suitable for escort and reconnaissance missions, protecting U.S. Navy strike formations. The Douglas F-3D Skyknight was a dedicated night fighter equipped with advanced radar that allowed it to operate with no visual contact. Though not very agile, it proved extremely lethal when hunting targets in darkness. The Lockheed F-94 Starfire became the first all-weather interceptor of the U.S. Air Force in Korea. With integrated radar and an afterburning engine, it could rapidly scramble to intercept enemy aircraft day or night. The F-4U Corsair symbolized close air support for the U.S. Marine Corps. With exceptional durability and heavy firepower, the Corsair played a decisive role in halting North Korean advances, particularly along the Busan perimeter. The F-51 Mustang, once a legendary fighter of World War II, was primarily used for ground attack missions in Korea. Flying at low altitude under intense anti-aircraft fire, Mustangs suffered heavy losses. The Yakovlev Yak-7, a Soviet-designed propeller fighter, was used in the early stages of the war for air defense missions. Despite its World War II origins, it still posed a threat to UN aircraft at low altitudes. The Yakovlev Yak-9P, an all-metal improvement of the Yak-9 series, featured stronger firepower and greater durability. It was employed to defend airspace and intercept intruding aircraft during the early years of the conflict. The Yakovlev Yak-3 was renowned for its lightweight and exceptional low-altitude maneuverability. In the hands of experienced pilots, it remained a dangerous opponent despite being outclassed by emerging jet fighters. The Lavchikin La-9, a modern all-metal propeller fighter, was deployed to reinforce air defense before jet units were fully introduced. The Lavchikin La-11, a long-range variant of the La-9, was designed to escort bombers and protect transport formations, playing a key role in deep penetration missions. The Hawker Sea Fury was the most advanced propeller-driven fighter of the Royal Navy during the Korean War. In 1952, it achieved a rare victory by shooting down a MiG-15, marking one of the last times a propeller aircraft defeated a jet in aerial combat. The B-29 Superfortress served as the primary U.S. strategic bomber in Korea. Initially conducting large-scale daytime bombing raids, it was forced to shift to night operations after the arrival of the MiG-15. The B-26 Invader earned the nickname Night Hunter of the Korean battlefield. Flying low in darkness, it relentlessly attacked supply convoys, bridges, and depots, severely disrupting enemy logistics. The Ilyushin Il-10, a heavily armored Soviet ground attack aircraft, inflicted significant losses during the early days of the war due to its precise low-altitude attack capability and strong survivability. The Douglas AD Skyraider stood out for its enormous bomb-carrying capacity for a propeller aircraft. It played a decisive role in major operations such as the Incheon landing and the fierce battles around the Chosin Reservoir. The Douglas C-14 Skytrain formed the backbone of the airlift system, continuously transporting troops, ammunition, and supplies to the front while evacuating hundreds of thousands of wounded soldiers. The Douglas C-54 Skymaster handled long-range transport flights between Japan and the Korean Peninsula. With 4 powerful engines, it maintained a stable air bridge throughout the war. The Douglas C-118 Liftmaster was used for high-priority transport missions, often carrying senior officers, critical equipment, and urgently wounded personnel. The C-124 Globemaster II became a massive heavy transport aircraft capable of carrying tanks and heavy artillery, fundamentally changing the deployment of military equipment by air. The C-119 Flying Boxcar became famous for its life-saving supply drugs. During the Battle of Chosin Reservoir, it delivered ammunition and essential supplies to surrounded Marines, helping enable their safe withdrawal. The Antonov An-2, a slow but highly versatile Soviet biplane, was often used for night harassment missions. Flying low and slow, it proved extremely difficult for radar to detect. The North American T-6 Texan was modified into a forward air control aircraft, with pilots flying low over the battlefield to mark targets with smoke for jet strike aircraft. The Piper L-4 Grasshopper was a light reconnaissance aircraft that operated directly over front lines, used to adjust artillery fire with high precision. The Stinson L-5 Sentinel was a versatile liaison aircraft capable of operating from short and rough airstrips. In addition to reconnaissance, it was used for medical evacuation and urgent courier missions. The Cessna L-19 Bird Dog became the primary observation aircraft of the U.S. Army, spending hours circling above battlefields to detect enemy movement.
the Polycarpov PO-2, nicknamed Bedcheck Charlie, became a nightmare for UN forces. These primitive biplanes flew slowly and low, dropping harassment bombs that deprived enemy troops of sleep. The consolidated PBY Catalina, a rescue seaplane famous since World War II, continued its role in Korea, patrolling the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan to rescue downed pilots from icy waters. The Short Sunderland, a large British flying boat, conducted long-range maritime patrols and search and rescue missions under harsh weather conditions. The Lockheed P-2V Neptune was the most advanced U.S. maritime patrol aircraft of the late war period, focusing on anti-submarine warfare and naval reconnaissance.
The Grumman SA-16 Albatross was an amphibious rescue seaplane designed specifically for search and rescue missions. With the ability to take off and land on both land and water, the Albatross saved many pilots who had been shot down into the freezing seas, often operating close to hostile coastlines under enemy fire. The Sikorsky H-5 was one of the first helicopters to be truly deployed in combat. In Korea, the H-5 pioneered the concept of airborne medical evacuation, removing wounded soldiers from the front lines faster than any means previously possible. The Bell H-13 became a humanitarian symbol of the Korean War, instantly recognizable by its external medical stretchers mounted on the fuselage. Its ability to reach the front lines dramatically reduced fatality rates by transporting wounded troops to field hospitals within minutes. The Sikorsky H-19 was the first true transport helicopter to see combat service. With a larger cabin, it could carry not only casualties, but also entire infantry squads into the battlefield, marking the beginning of the modern era of air mobility. The Korean War was not merely a geopolitical conflict.